welcome to episode 81.
81, yes. Welcome back to Academy of Tone, back in the BluGuitar studio.
Yeah, again. Last week I was in the recording studio with Ben Granfeld in Düsseldorf or Krefeld, and yeah, I was just using my little iPhone. Amazing what these little, mobile phones can do these days. I placed the mobile phone just close to the studio monitor, so we went direct and picked up my sound. Unfortunately, a bit louder than Ben's because his studio monitor was on the other side, and the phone wasn't in the middle because there was the screen in the middle. But yeah, back here in Saarbrücken in our studio, and tonight we have a nice topic talking about pickups and, well, the different tones we get from these pickups, and maybe a little bit about a history. In the second half, we have a 40-minute interview with Andreas Kloppmann, kind of my pickup guru, that we were shooting when he was visiting me like 2 weeks ago or so, when he was on the way to south of France for a week of vacation. And of course, he was stepping over here at this place, and we killed 2 bottles of red wine and we shot the interview in the morning. So you can tell that he's awakening during the interview. Yeah. Before we dive into the thing, there's one thing I wanted to tell you about me and tomorrow. I'm gigging tomorrow in Stuttgart, before I forget about that. It's actually Esslingen in Dieselstraße, it's called. Well, everybody knows Diesel, and this gentleman Diesel came from that area.
Ah, so the street is named after the guy who created the film.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So or the engine, I think diesel engine and fuel goes together, and this is Kulturzentrum Esslingen tomorrow night for those in Stuttgart area. And what else is important? So this will be my Rock Anarchy, and there will be more gigs coming up in the rest of the year. As we can see in the picture, we are wearing the Corona heads, and this picture was taken even before Corona existed, which is so funny because just like 3 months before the whole thing started, we were wearing Corona hats, Corona Extra. But with the regulations we have, we can play this 2G or something like that. Everything organized, everything cool, safe, fresh air, all professional, tested and blah, blah, blah. So that's the stuff. And while doing this kind of housekeeping here, subscribe to the channel, press the notification bell and all that stuff, because I always forget this, and this is now done.
Yep, that would be wonderful if you could do that. Give the video a like, tell all your friends about BluGuitar and the wonderful products and playing, and tell them all to come out and see Thomas tomorrow in Stuttgart, although there's probably not that many tickets left, right?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know the place. I think I played there 20 years ago. It should be cool. I'm gigging there again in Bottnang, Stuttgart, and they already told me that they're moving to a bigger place. So it's like we have a problem, too many people. And so
that's a luxury problem, though. I guess people are super excited to be back watching and playing live music. It's been so long. I mean, I still haven't been to a proper concert gig since the Corona thing happened. My last proper gig, just to go off on a tangent, was Airborne in Barcelona, when I went to Barcelona in November 2019.
Before the whole
that was
thing.
The last proper gig that I went to.
Yeah, amazing. Anyway, amazing. So, and now let's talk about pickups. Before we start that, I wanted to mention that I was using the Solo Dallas AC/DC. Oops. Shut up. boost, which is the electronics from Angus Young's wireless system in a stomp box. So it has a boost knob, a limiter, which is part of that circuit, and a level control. And I was using the Amp1 Mercury Edition because it's simply there on the clean channel on 10, the boost on 10, and a little bit boosted with this Storm. And that's all. EQ setting you could see, it's 4 on the bass, mid's probably 6, and treble maybe a bit sharper, 6 or 5. And the custom control for clean is at 3 o'clock. And the blue box is on my beloved Stack 1970 as usual. So I didn't change the blue box, I just changed the settings here a little bit. And of course I played the wrong guitar because it's a Les Paul and not an SG. You have the SG, but
yeah, I brought my Epiphone SG with me. It has P90s, not humbuckers. But again, Malcolm Young didn't play any of these either, did he? He played a Gretsch with a Filtertron pickup in it, maybe?
Pickups, yeah.
And he just had one in the bridge. He just had a gaping hole left in the neck position because he didn't need that.
Sure, and yeah. I mean, if you play straightforward rhythm guitar and AC/DC, there is no need for anything else. No. And that's the beauty of AC/DC. It's like they all have their spot, their places in the mix or in the band, and this is what makes this band so solid.
Yeah.
And it's we had just 3 minutes of sound check, and it's like when I play those tones here. It's pretty raw.
Yeah.
And maybe you think it's not so nice. I could make it a bit rounder, but I think the backing track was already kind of bright in a way. Yeah. So I had to come up with a signal that stands up to that kind of here I am.
Exactly. Yeah. I want to see how much the Storm helps. Can you give us the tones with that and then without?
So this is just the Amp1. It's a nice one. So this limiter here of the Storm kind of makes the range of the in-between sounds kind of nice, from the clean. I mean, even without it, the amp does it, but this is kind of like a little magnifier of this area in the spectrum, which is why that pedal is great.
Does Angus Young have anything to do with that pedal, or has he played one? Do you know?
He played originally his wireless, and from what I know from Max Carton, who was the nice gentleman, he actually gave me one of these pedals.
He did?
Yeah, he did. Wow. Thanks, Max.
Yeah, and maybe Max is watching right now and can tell us a bit more.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And he can. I think he mentioned that he owns one of those by now.
Yeah.
And there is a bigger version, which is like a tower, like that. Sounds almost the same, maybe esoteric-wise a little bit better. I had that also here in some episode. But this is kind of already pretty damn good for that kind of thing. And this is the funny thing, if you want to play AC/DC, most guys play with too much gain. And, when you look back at their tone and their history, they just had plexis and cranked them, old school. And this is, you know, fight with the guitar, fight in the bar, and you know. Okay, an SG would be a bit lighter. The Les Paul is a bit too heavy, but I don't have an SG, so maybe one day. Yeah, that's. But again, with this kind of setup here, you can actually hear what the pickups offer as a character. I could simply use the same setup and use another guitar. Wait a minute, we have too many guitars tonight.
We've got a bunch of guitars to show off with different pickups in today.
Yeah.
Do you want to try the SG?
I try maybe the Tele. Can you give me the blonde Tele?
The blonde Tele, yeah.
So we can kind of start historically in the early days of single coils and see. I mean, this will also sound good. Also a nice sound. But let's get rid of the storm and get the amp a bit cleaner and like this. You know what? Get rid of the pedals so everybody knows that we are not cheating.
Yep. Rob says, would a treble booster get you close to the storm in terms of a boost?
Sure. But as we all know, it is in that little details. I mean, I'm crazy about all kind of pedals because, you know, the Storm has this extra in this direction and the treble booster does similar things, but not exactly the same. Yeah. And I like all these little nuances. And it is it a boost? Is it a compression? Anything that kind of widens that little area in the spectrum can be done with a booster, with a tube booster, but somehow the most authentic thing is this kind of Storm box. And the reason for that is because the wireless used a compounder, what is it, encoder? No.
Transmitter?
Yeah, in the transmitter you have what is it, expander and compounder thing, and there's a compression element in that, and that's done to reduce the noise in the transmitter, and this thing actually does something for the tone, and that's what you can do. You can also get there by having a bit more compression from your power amp sagging by cranking your amp. That's also a part which already exists in the AC/DC tone because they play so loud. And this is what I have here. I mean, when I just put the... Sorry guys, ouch, this was a bit hard. But that's the clean channel. You know, it's already there. And this is single coils now. Okay, let's go back and... The rest I can leave. Okay, Telecaster, bridge position, the classic thing. And it's that spanky, twangy thing that the guys and ladies in Nashville like so much. And by the way, there's Paula Jo Taylor, the shredding granny, who I made famous by accident when I was filming her when she was checking out the Amp 1 with the Telecaster. and she just had fun, and I filmed her, and then the video went viral, blah blah blah. So that's Nashville, the Nashville sound, and that's what we find here. And just having one of those guitars, we could also get to Keith Richards in. And he gets rid of the big E string because it's simply not needed.
Yeah, he doesn't need it. So that's open G tuning, right?
That's open G tuning, which is G, D, G again, and B, and the D. If we were to... So if we had a bottleneck, which I'm not good at, but so upstairs, not here. Next time I play you some bottleneck. You would hear, it makes a lot of sense for this kind of tuning. And what I've done with the tone to get to the sound here, I just put the clean volume to 8. Have the boost, and that's all. I didn't change.
What's the EQ doing? Everything in the middle?
Yeah, well, the bass was reduced for AC/DC by 1, and the mids were up. Let's put everything in the middle. So now it's 555. It's hard to play in a different tuning if you don't. I can play it in standard tuning and emulate that thing, but it's like, I rarely do that. But ask Keith, he knows. He wrote all his hits with this tuning.
He did.
And
why do you think he chose a Tele? Or do you think that was just in those days it was more limited? He chose what was there, and
he had everything, even before the Tele. He had Les Pauls in the 60s because the Stones were already a big, well-known band, and they had Epiphones, they had Les Pauls, they had basically anything. But I think Keith Richards came to a phase where he was so impressed by the American sound, which was a transition in the Stones, because they started as those typical Beatles British bands. Then there was the psychedelic phase with what's her satanic majesty, whatever, blah blah blah, and 2000 Light Years from Home. You probably haven't heard it. I think that's so cool.
No, I've not heard that one.
With a synthesizer and. Great. And Keith Richards go really like almost groovy disco guitar in the weird universe of flying sounds, very psychedelic influenced. And then they had to move on to some other style in a way, and they chose like a very earthy American route And this Exile on Main Street, for example, was in Honky Tonk Woman. And this is all American Telecaster sounds.
Yeah.
And then I think he still loves that up to today. So this became his thing. And by the way, the tuning was shown to him by, I think, Ry Cooder.
Okay.
Yeah, so he gave him the hint. Try this out. It's gold. It will make you rich.
Yeah, it's super easy. Yeah.
So this was the Keith Richards Tele. Okay. Talking about the Tele and the pickups here. Bridge pickup. What I think about a Tele and a bridge pickup, it is maybe the most direct tone in all the electric guitars that I know, because it's so simple. The simplicity is just a plank of wood, a neck, tons of maple, and the strings go through the body, and it's simple as can be. There's some brass saddles. I don't know if this is any important, but
Trev Wilkinson would say it is.
Sure.
I know that.
Yeah. And Andreas Kloppmann would say, yeah, this is all important for das Geräusch, which means the noise, meaning it is a complex thing. It's not one frequency. It is, you can't tell, it's that only twang thing. No, it is a complex thing with all the frequencies in the dynamic field of things. And the simplicity of this setup here is what is reflected in the tone, and is also a little bit in the way you play the instrument. It is so dynamic. It's so to me sounds like a Steinway grand piano, a little bright, big, and long throw, kind of warm. It's like a tone that you can hit one.
Yeah, a lot of people will say that the bridge pickup on a Tele is very cutting, and ice picky. But for me personally, I think that Strats are worse for that. I find the Tele bridge pickup far more usable, and in fact, I generally use that most of the time.
I know what you mean, because you're talking about bad Strats, and good Strats have the Tele quality. My 61 Strat is pretty close from the tonal, from the tone on my bridge position towards a Tele. It's not the same, but it has kind of similar formants, and that's what I call the O. And a bad Strat pickup, we can show you, would make it has no O. It is a higher thing, and that's what you probably like about a Tele sound, because it has some bass. There's a foundation with a strong vocal O, and then it's not a problem to have some top end, and especially this is why the pickers like it. know, all this picking. You can form so many nuances with your picking style because of that expressiveness and this. Yeah, it's not spiky. It's only spiky if you play shit, you know. By the way, just for fun, hold this. I grab my Strat, so I will show you what I mean. If bridge pickup. It's not as hard, it's not as big, because the guitar has, you know, it's not as simple, and therefore the tone is not as in your face, but the format. So we don't have shitty Strats in the house. Well, there's a good reason.
Unfortunately not, no.
Yeah, but I tell you, this is a good bridge pickup tone, and this is what I'm looking for, and this is not the standard. I know many Strats that hurt your ears, pokey, peaky, whatever you call it. It's, yeah. But yeah, that's my Strat, and that's a good bridge pickup.
Yeah. We had a question come in already about the neck pickup on a Tele, which we haven't discussed yet. We've got, I can't remember the name, sorry, but someone's saying they've got a woolly tone coming from their neck pickup. Could they potentially take off the cover to get a better sound? Could they put 50s wiring in? What's your recommendation when it comes to Telecaster neck pickups?
Okay,
are you even interested? Because I know that the Esquire, of course, doesn't even bother with one.
Yeah, well, the Esquire didn't have one, and the very early Telecasters, they had a special design with a capacitor on the neck pickup to make the neck pickup super dark. And this was meant to be the Tele as a bass instrument. So they had kind of, here is where you play the bass, and here is where you play the lead guitar. And if that's the case with your guitar, you should change the wiring into a standard Telecaster wiring. And then, of course, it wouldn't sound like this. I mean, this is probably what you... Okay, I mean... If your pickup is that dark, it is the capacitor. Yeah. So this was what I was doing with my tone control here. Simple change, a few wires, and you're good. That could be the explanation if it's unusable dark. Well, or play bass with it, but nobody does this anymore today, you know?
No.
And
they originally did that, I think, because back in the day, there weren't PA systems and there weren't really bass amps that were suitable, and so the guitar player had to be the electric bass, because there were only upright basses up until that point.
Exactly. There were no real electrical basses, and this is why they came up with this kind of feature in the guitar to make you a bass player on the guitar with this funny tone. And then, of course, Fender introduced the P-bass, and then the world changed. But I mean, this is a transition phase of Fender designing guitars and then bringing out basses, and it takes some time till the instrument bass gets accepted and people actually consider themselves a bass player and playing, you know, the big instruments and not the upright bass. Yeah, that was some evolution, and that was taking some time. Rich has a sound problem, but anyway. Yeah, I can talk a little bit about the in-between sounds. So we had, okay, first again with the bridge pickup. Okay, I make it a bit cleaner. that's that beloved and famous bridge pickup. That is the neck pickup, which has its own qualities. It's a nice and very balanced neck pickup. Interestingly, it has that cover, which makes it a bit more mellow. If you take off covers from pickups on a humbucker or on the single coil here, you will notice that it will get a bit brighter. But it's a nice way to make this pickup balanced. And what's also nice is the in-between. And this is like, that's the natural, it's either, well, they use all the three of them, but it's mainly bridge, and then the in-between position is also famous. By the way, the quality of the neck pickup is also loved by jazz players because it's so balanced. Maybe just reduce a little bit of the volume. Oh, me and jazz. A little tone here. Pickup, no? Serious jazz, if you could play it. Yeah.
So, I think people often typecast the Tele as being a country guitar.
Yeah, because
presumably because back in the day the most famous players all used them, but they're super versatile.
Absolutely, it's a totally underestimated guitar. If you think about what's John 5, even hard metal guys play Telecasters, or Niels Finkeisen, he's probably watching as well.
Yeah, exactly. He does pretty good metal on a Telecaster.
Yeah.
And when I was growing up, I went to mainly watch indie rock and punk and alternative rock bands in the UK, and most of those guys used either SGs or Telecasters.
See?
And you'd see combinations of both in bands, and they would work really well. And what I think is also great about a Tele is that it will cut through pretty much any mix super easily with the bridge pickup.
Yeah. And that's the good thing about the Tele. You can't go wrong. There is no whammy bar that goes out of tune. There's a solid tone. There is some versatility if you talk about this kind of two pickup, three-way switch thing. There's anything you can do with the Telecaster. There's, killer. It's just a great guitar. It's simple and it works any genre. Great guitar, and it has a character. To me personally, moving to the Stratocaster, the Tele is such a great guitar and so strong that sometimes I have the feeling that the guitar is even stronger than the personality. I mean, most of my heroes play Stratocasters, and thinking about that is why did they come up using Strats like Jeff Beck or Eric Clapton in the later days, or Mark Knopfler or Gary Moore? And for me, I can hear the personality of the guitar Gilmour hero with the Strat even more. I don't know why, but I think you have to put there's the extra energy has to come from the player, because it's not there in the guitar. The guitar is great. It has everything you want and need, and it works perfect, but it challenges you to do your thing even more intense, because this guitar already is intense. So I probably could say this makes you a bit lazy. I mean, because the guitar is already up and nice and and present and everything. And with the Strat is kind of, if you don't do anything special with it, you are just a boring guitar player.
Yeah, I mean, I played SGs first and then Teles forever. And a year or two ago, I got my first Strat.
Yeah.
I think you've seen pictures of it. It's a blue Japanese one from the 90s that I bought off a friend. And Strats are really hard to play.
Yeah,
they're an absolute challenge compared to guitars like this one.
Yeah.
They don't just naturally do what you want them to do.
Yeah.
And the pickups are in a different place for me, obviously, and you've got the whammy bar. It's a whole different challenge.
Yeah. And then compared to Gibson guitars with a big scale, which is also the same for the Telecaster, but it's a combination that challenges you more and which challenges your personality. And if you are the guy on stage that is in the spotlight, that has to be the hero, and if you have a Strat like Jeff Beck, you better do something great, because the people pay for that ticket to see, that. And even if I play my Strat, they pay for the Strat King of Europe ticket.
Yeah.
And then I better deliver, And so, we with a bridge pickup, we could hear that the Tele already has all this power and energy. This is not even an old instrument. This is it's a little fake Fender. It's not, using Kloppmann pickups,
Is it a proper Fender neck, or is it just a parts caster, as we say?
Let's call it a parts caster. Okay. So, but back to the Strat here, the Tele was already in the same ballpark and gave me even more compared to the Strat. So, on the bridge pickup. And so I can do the country thing on this one as well. I can do basically everything I can do with the Tele. But, there is not as much sustain, and there's not as much, width and bigness, or whatever you call that. So I have to make this big in a way, And okay, neck pickup on the Strat, of course, is a killer. But you have to work a little bit to get the good noises out of that. If I just play plinky blanky on that guitar, it will sound shit. Let's grab, a plinky blanky plectrum and play some. But okay, that's this tone. Okay, yeah, middle position. Yeah, and this one is a reverse wound pickup from Andreas Kloppmann, modeled after a 66. We will hear this story that brought us together later in this episode. And the in-betweens are even spankier, which is one of those nice side effects that I liked with this, because when I used this guitar in the studio, these were the days of disco and 80s sound. Position 2. Okay, middle position, always a more balanced sound, not too bright, not too dark. Compared to the bridge pickup. Bridge very bright and maybe sometimes too present. The middle position is kind of... And this comes also from a 66 pickup, which is a bit mellower than the 61s. And the big neck, that's the beauty of a Strat. I think a Strat neck pickup is what most people, you know...
So how important are the pickups in relation to the guitar bodies that they're in? Because there is, for example, the Fender Nashville Telecaster, which has the Telecaster bridge, and it has a middle Strat pickup and I think a neck Strat pickup too. But I don't think you could do those Strat neck tones on a Nashville Tele. I don't think it would quite get there. Yeah. We don't have that guitar here. Maybe someone watching has a Nashville Tele and can tell us, but I don't think it would do it.
I was touring with Jerry Donahue, who is like the Tele master of them all, with all the, you know, crazy...
That was You did his bend at the end just now.
Yeah, I stole it from him.
Yeah.
And I learned all his songs, like... Who comes up with... Crazy guy, great player.
Yeah, that was always one of my favorite things on the trade shows with JHS and Fret King, because Jerry had a signature model Fret King guitar, and I would just be able to stand and video or photograph him while he played right there in front of me. And he's an incredible player.
And I think he uses a Strat pickup in the neck position as well.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And he has different wiring as well. He has a 5-way switch on the Telly, and it does strange things.
Yeah, but it all makes sense for what he's doing. Still, a Telly will sound like a Telly because hardtail, you know, versus floating tremolo, that makes a huge difference. Yeah. And of course, body wood, neck wood, everything has an influence on the tone. So pickups are part of the tone, but if the foundation is different, if the tone is something, is the character of the guitar, you can hear it dry even without the pickups, sounds different. The pickups will simply just amplify that with a certain color, but the color of the pickups is not the color of the guitar.
Yeah.
It's just like a filter, maybe effect of a guitar. So I don't agree with Professor Zollner, who is a great guy when it comes to amplifier analysis. You know, the other day we had Bernd Meiser here, and he is also honor member of the GITEC what is it, club or team, and I really, really, really like what he has done for analyzing classic amplifiers. He spent a lot of time, looking at the classic AC30s, Fenders, Marshalls, analyzing the schematics, finding out what's happening in preamp stages, phase inverter stages, blah, 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 and all that interaction. And that's fantastic. But when it comes to guitar, I think he was doing it like he said, the wood is not so important. It's all in the pickups. And I disagree on this one because I can prove it. I have BluGuitars like this one here, and okay, this is the only blue guitar, but I have seen them all. Every single blue guitar ever made, I have played, and it's using the same body and neck components from the same supplier with the same pickups, and I know the pickups from Andreas Kloppmann and their tolerance, they are measured. I mean, even Mr. Zollner would say, yeah, the measurements are exact, and they sound different. So why do they sound different? It's not because of the hardware from Trevor Wilkinson, because that's also very, very identical, because nothing is changed on that side. No, it's the wood. So wood is so important, and I noticed even slight changes when, back in the days when I had a neck reshape to make it a little thinner because it was too chunky. And you can tell it changes the tone. And to me, it makes total sense because the resonance frequency in a neck and a body is changed by the density of the wood, by the amount of the wood. And, back in the old days, people had the fat finger. What was it? It was a brass clamp. Geoffrey Whitehorn used to have one of those. Mm-hmm. Put it on the headstock, make more mass here, and that changed the tone.
For more sustained or something?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah. Other people go and have put in screws into the wood to change the resonance there.
Yeah.
And experiment with combinations of how many pieces, 1 piece, 3 piece, and blah, 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 where to do the joints and all that stuff. All that affects the tone. The pickups, of course, again, it's a full system. Anything you change on a pickup will affect the tone. The wire, the magnets, how strong the magnets are, blah, blah, blah. Everything, the spacing, Andreas knows best, but when I ask somebody for different pickups, what are they changing? They all look the same, and sometimes they even use the same components. Oh, there must be something magic there. And it's the same like with speakers. I'm challenging my supplier to make me different speakers specialized for the nano cap, for the fat cap, for the twin cap, and for whatever will come. And it is like the same membrane. It's just maybe a slightly bigger or less strong magnet, and I know what that is doing, but all the rest is subtle changes with huge effects. And we are so sensitive, our ear is so sensitive for those subtle changes in the mid frequencies, especially where the voice is. Voicing a guitar, voicing a pickup, voicing a speaker, voicing an amplifier, it's an art. It's like cooking. I mean, you can buy some meat and ruin it, or somebody else can make a delicious dish with it. I can ruin it. Maybe. I'm not that bad. Okay. No, it's okay. But I'm not the expert. There are some experts.
Yeah, there are some master chefs, that's for sure. But it's a learning process.
Absolutely. And it never ends. That's the good thing. Some people who always, I mean, if somebody goes and said, I've seen it all, I know it, and this is all, this is the end of the universe. No, because trust me, next year, next day, next week, you will discover something new. And so I'm totally delighted to see new things from a different perspective, from a different player, and it's a never-ending journey, but it's so beautiful. I mean, otherwise it would be boring. I mean, it's like, I know all the chords. Now I can kill myself because I'm bored, No, it's like you can do different things with the same chord. And that's the same thing, like, still with the single coil pickup, for instance, when we talk about single coil pickups here at the moment, there are so many variations possible. You can change the magnet and it will have a different effect. And you can change the wire and it will have a different effect. You can change the height of the pickup, even the stuff that you can all do by yourself. Not even buying new pickups will have a huge effect. You can have a different guitar lead and have a different tone. Just one sec. Here, let me show you my guitar lead scenario again. Just the bigger cables make a different tone.
What episode was it where we actually tested that in the room? Was that maybe 3 or 4 episodes ago?
Yeah. Let me do this again, just for the reference point. So for those who haven't seen the earlier episode, it's like, okay, this is bridge pickup, everything on 10. Do you hear the difference?
Yep, there is a difference.
Okay.
Less top end.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, this cable is way longer for first, but it also, to me, that sounds like an old guitar now. Go back and see how this. We're all talking quality cables here. This is not. It's way more open and it has more zing, zang, ching, chang, which can be fun.
Whatever that is, yeah. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. But hey, this was just changing one parameter in the game. Yeah. Just the cable.
Yeah. It's proof that every little aspect of the instrument and the signal chain can affect your tone.
Yeah. And do we have any questions on this? We have questions here.
Yeah, we have a few questions, but we have questions about humbuckers, which I want to ask during the humbucker phase. We haven't got there yet.
So if there's no specific single coil questions at this point...
Well, there is one mention about an HSS Stratocaster, because of course that's another option. You see single coil guitars with humbucking pickups in them. For example, I have my Tele here as well, which has a bridge single coil, but I've got a neck wide range humbucker in it. And of course, HSS Stratocasters have a humbucker here. Again, because lots of people think that a bridge Strat single coil might be too glassy, too bitey, too ice picky.
Yeah, and they want, you know, something heavier for the power chords, you know.
Yeah.
And of course, me being the Blackmore inspired guy that wants that lighter, more defined, fine overdrive tone. I love single coils even for my power chords.
Yeah.
But if you want a Brett in German, buy a Brett. What's the English word? Is there a wall of sound? What is the English equivalent for
Yeah,
Brett?
I guess that's what it is, wall of sound,
Yeah. Okay. In German we call it Brett. That sound is like, you know, like slamming a door in your face. That's the Brett.
Yeah.
So you have a humbucker in your Strat. I mean, this is what everybody did in the 80s. Van Halen, you know, I mean, he invented that probably, you know, like, you know, a few spucks here and there, or whatever the screws are called in English, and there we go.
Yeah.
There was, that kind of output and aggressiveness and, extra, gave you that extra.
Yeah, so many different options, even in these guitars, you know. Pooh Ninja says P-rail pickups. That's another option for people. He also mentions valve buckers. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
No.
Those are, if I'm right, made by the guy who does Ruacongas guitars.
Okay.
Like a Scandinavian builder. Correct me, someone out there, if I'm wrong. And they are tube-powered pickups.
I
you
see.
might have even played them somewhere.
No, and now I know. Tube power picker. Hey, there are so many designs out there, but we are starting here only with the basic.
These are the basics, the bread and butter pickups.
I mean, you know, we come from old school Fender now to old school Fender Strats, from Tele to Strat, and now we could move over to P90s for a change. We have this.
It is a Friedman, for everyone who was asking earlier. It is the vintage T model, is it? Maybe? I actually don't know the model names.
Yeah.
But
so, what we have here is, as you can hear, compared to my Strat or to this other one, more output and a bigger tone. But still, single coil pickups with single coil qualities.
Yeah.
So this one neck pickup is like, oh, somebody wired this guitar different. Was probably me, but this is Kai's guitar. So I opened that the other day, and he has some changes.
Do you know what the pickups are? Are they Friedman branded pickups, or does he put something else into them?
I don't know. Maybe somebody knows and puts it down in the comments.
Yeah. We have lots of questions for you guys tonight. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Getting you involved.
Well, you will probably find it on the Friedman website anyhow. Yeah. Okay, the good thing about such a guitar here is, you know, with this extra meat under your fingers, you can. I think it's pretty good for some bluesy stuff.
Yeah.
Personally, that guitar, the neck radius is too flat for me. It is a modern radius, which is makes me whittle even more. if I think vintage, I would love to have more round. In between position. All the way up. In between. And neck position. Let's do it with a Tele just to compare.
Yeah.
The original single coils with P90s. Of course, different guitars. I can see some mahogany body here. Bridge position. Middle position. And neck. Way more polite.
Yeah. So it's the same kind of ballpark, you know, both single coil, but there's so much more grunt to these ones, so much more of a mid-range sort of a bark to it.
Yeah, let's check out my, where is it? Les Paul Jr.
And the Friedman guitars, again, I might be wrong, but I believe, are they made by Grover Jackson in America for Friedman? So, you know, these are great guitars.
Of course.
And these are high-priced instruments as well,
yes,
aren't they?
Yes,
a couple of thousand euros, I think, for these.
A couple of thousand euros. And, you know, they are experienced builders. You know, this is some serious instruments. Not 100% my taste, because as I just mentioned, you know, the neck feels weird to me.
Yeah, it is a very flat fingerboard, isn't it? Flatter than a Les Paul. It feels like a shredder.
Yeah.
A shredder's board, but the neck itself is surprisingly chunky.
Yeah, it is something, you know, I grew up on traditional instruments.
Yeah, this is something else, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's maybe your thing, because it is not the old school authentic 53 Telecaster specs with all the elegance, and but it's a great guitar, you know.
Yeah,
so,
I like it a lot.
Yeah, so let me check out my only one P90, and this is all I need. To me, that's again very impressive, because one single coil guitar, just, you know, one volume and one tone. Sorry for to me, that cuts through anything.
I've been doing a little bit of research recently into single pickup guitars.
Okay.
Before I give it to you, it's an interesting question, and I've seen some YouTubers like Rhett Shell make videos on this, the magic of single pickup guitars. And these people talk about the fact that there's no neck pickup means there's less of a magnetic pull on the strings, and that makes the bridge pickup sound different compared to if there was a neck pickup. What's your thoughts on that?
I totally agree. Because
and now I give you this.
Okay, I deserve it for this beautiful answer. I can even throw in that my Strat with having, if you have a Strat with like no reverse wound pickup, if you change the pickup and you listen to the bridge pickup and you change from a standard polarity to a reverse wound, reverse polarity pickup in the middle, it changes the tone.
Yeah.
So my Strat would sound maybe even better if I would have the original middle pickup, but I don't. Who cares? You can't tell. I know. And anyway, so this is yours.
Yeah, this is a 2020 Epiphone SG Classic with Epiphone P90s in it. This is a 56 Les Paul Jr.
Yeah.
And this is a Friedman Vintage T from the 2010. So we're looking at, well, this cost me 250 euros because I bought it off a guy for a good deal. This is about 10 times the price, and that's probably about 10 times the price of this one. Well, whatever. It's a vintage Les Paul.
It is 10 to whatever they go for.
Let's hear the difference.
Well, it sounds more expensive than 200. You've done a good job on this. Let's swap to something that is more expensive. You know, for that kind of money, it's a nice guitar and it sounds good. It's probably more pleasant than such an instrument. But here is the note of a pro. If the guitar is too nice, it's great to play by yourself, but in the band context, the extra nastiness cuts through. And then if we analyze this nastiness, there is where the tone lies that you actually hear in the band context. So there's nothing wrong about such a guitar, especially if you start, you know, that's great because it sounds, you know, big, rich, sparkling, everything is fine. Something in the middle which cuts through, which has the punch, is different with these other instruments. And maybe it sounds a bit offensive to you like now because I have my true and honest clean channel boosted, and this is kind of the real deal I heard you sound if I heard by playing, you know, it's not a nice tone. If I play nice, it's a nice tone. Let's compare so I can show you what I mean.
I feel like there might be just more overall fullness to the tone of the Friedman.
See, this is not what is full? Maybe full is the right word. You know,
okay, maybe just a broader, more rounded sort of frequency range.
Yeah,
in the middle and in the bottom end as well.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, this sounds nice and polite. It's great. the other has more wood. It's like the wall of sound hits you a bit harder. And that's probably the difference. Yeah. But, it's a great instrument to start, because when you're young, you probably don't want to have an instrument that is that offensive in a way. The other instruments are nice, but they can be a bit more offensive. And this is kind of nice and pleasant. It can be a bit jingly, but maybe even in a nice way. So, yeah, nothing wrong about that. Talking about Telecasters, I see your blue one.
Yep, okay. I've run out of hands. Can you
just
keep hold of
I put this.
Oops.
So green goes here.
Yeah. So this is my Mexican Tele.
Okay.
From about 2014, which I got new. It's got a Wilkinson bridge on it with the all-important brass saddles, as we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
That's a standard Fender Mexican bridge pickup, which I think is quite hot. And this is a wide-range humbucker made by an English company called the Creamery.
Creamery?
Yeah.
Let's check it out.
I think they're called the Creamery because they're based in a place where they used to make cream.
Okay. The cow.
And butter and stuff like that, yeah.
Happy cows.
Happy cows make good-sounding pickups.
Yeah. Okay, we start.
So we're on the bridge. I'll just push that because it's a push-push. So in is humbucking mode, and you can split it by pushing it.
But it doesn't affect the single coil.
It doesn't affect the bridge.
So
no.
bridge is. Well, it definitely has some mids. Let's check out the in-between position with this in single coil mode, right? I would say a quite unique sound. Let's check out the humbucker. That's nice. It's the split mode, right?
That's the single coil.
Okay, there's still some clarity left. I can hear the cows. It's Creamery. Interesting, this pickup is light open, I would describe it. Not too heavy, which is a nice quality if you like to use it for certain things. I mean, it's hard to describe, but for me, it inspires me to play stuff that is not too jazzy, which I like. That's really out of phase-ish to my ears. So yeah, but yeah, it's a special tone. There's something about that
creamery,
yeah. Another tail and a nice blue. Oh, almost as nice. But mine has a bit more petrol in it. It's the vintage.
Yeah, true. This finish was called Ocean Blue Candy.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a limited thing. The only other person who I've ever seen who has that exact guitar is Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater.
Oh,
bizarrely.
Yeah.
And he stuck humbuckers in his. It sounds great.
Well, he knows what he's doing. He's around for
I
ages.
think he does. Yeah, exactly.
And he's a nice guy. I have to say, I remember being on a summer NAMM in Nashville, and I was having no special cable for my iPhone and to do some backing tracks and stuff like this, and asked Mitch Gallagher, and well, of course, we have some people here, and he helped me out. Nice guy. Yeah, I'm impressed. Okay, so we've been through single coils so far.
And P90s, and we touched on the bridge humbucker in the creamery. In the telly. The creamery humbucker in the telly.
Yeah.
Which probably sounds very different to the neck humbuckers in the Les Pauls that we have here, and the Ibanez RG, which is sat behind me as well.
Okay. Well, slowly but surely we're moving into a different territory. So this again is my Les Paul, and let's listen to this guitar. So that's the middle in between position, but let's hear the neck pickup. So these pickups are 57 specs by Andreas Kloppmann, modeled after a guitar that I like a lot. And as we all know, in these vintage pickups, if you have PF pickups, they all sound different because whatever, somebody put on a few more wines here and there, they changed components. I don't know, I don't care. I just know there are differences, and I found more 57s that I like than 59s. The other day I found a 59 which was perfect, but this was the exception to a lot of 59s that sounded a bit too fat to my taste. My taste is more the first year of the humbucker 57, when there was like a lot of definition and a lot of twang and maybe low output and whatever PF style. So that's the bridge position. I like it. Anyway, middle position. middle position. It has this kind of twang to it. Nice. And then finally the neck position. This is this round wood with smacky. And of course, if I would play some overdrive, which I actually didn't do the whole, I'm on the edge to overdrive, but not going there. But it has the toodle-too already. I can hear Okay, that's this guitar, and now this is like actually somebody has to tell me what year it is. I always, the numbers are hard to read. 340363. I repeat, 340363. If somebody knows if this is a 64 or whatever.
I thought you mentioned before that it might be a 67, maybe?
Yeah, I'm confused. Some expert has to tell me the numbers. You know, there's a register of all the serial number with the.
Do you know what pickups are in there, or is it just the originals?
These are the original ones, which are T models. They have this little T thing on the.
Would they be T-top humbuckers?
Yeah.
Ties in nicely to a question from David, which I've been keeping. Do you prefer PAF humbuckers?
Yes.
Or T-top humbuckers?
Well,
and what's the difference for you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, those T-tops, they are nice, great pickups. Nothing wrong about them. But if you have the right, the kind of PAFs that suit you in the way they are wound or whatever, with the right character, I prefer PAFs. But there's nothing wrong about these pickups. They are brilliant.
I know that recently Gibson have been making some kind of special runs of SGs with T-top humbuckers in them, and I'm not sure if Angus Young uses models with T-tops in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does? Okay, so then...
Max Carton knows it better, but Max Carton will return in a few weeks, so be sure he's here and he knows Angus Young inside out. So, and it's also a nice guitar, great. To me, the PAFs are a little bit more open in a way and not as, I wouldn't say fat. The fat is in a different lower mid range. That's the difference. But of course, it's
semi-acoustic.
Acoustic guitar, yeah.
Jason says the serial number comes back as made in 1965 in Kalamazoo, maybe.
Thank you.
Stefan says in episode 69, someone says that it's a 1964 model. And then Paul says 1965.
Yeah, somewhere between.
It's a mid-60s 335.
Yeah.
We've got that much.
Yeah, okay. We'll sort this out later so I can repeat it correctly one day. Yeah, so that a few things from my understanding about the humbuckers is some people take the covers off and this brightens up the pickups, but on the other hand, the covers, if they are the proper ones, they create that typical tone and it's bright enough, if you ask me. But of course, if you are like one of those guys that want more openness and you play high gain and stuff like that, without covers is a different thing. Many guitar players have done this in the past. That was an easy thing to do because you didn't change besides getting rid of the cover.
Yeah.
But not me. So I like those original way of the pickups with the covers, with the right components, with the old specs, basically. That's what.
Have you tried taking the tops off these ones to see the difference?
Yeah, not on this particular, but back in the days when I was a teenager, I was destroying anything. And of course, I used my soldering iron and cracked it and then had the covers off. And it sounds a bit more like an acoustic guitar, kind of, it gets you this extra frequencies, but it loses some of what I like about humbuckers. The magic for me disappears, at least for my tone. But of course, this is being done on this guitar, which is a Seymour Duncan loaded. As we can see, Alex Bayroth's ESP signature guitar. And here we go. He wants humbuckers.
Passive humbuckers, right?
Yeah, this is all passive, no battery.
Yeah.
No covers. To be honest, they are not too close to the strings. So there is...
No, the neck one is miles away, isn't it?
Yeah, which is actually okay, especially if you are into high gain territory. The closer they get, the more bass you get. And this guitar has a lot of definition, and it's one of those typical hair metal guitars, but I like it. Alex has his own thing going on, and this is like the in-between thing compared to this. Of course, it sounds more modern, which it should, because it's not meant to be a vintage. And it has a float rose, I mean, how low can you go? Yeah. Just for fun, let's do the classic. Not so loud. Not so loud! I think I have a little bit too much of this here. Let's take this back to... It does the job. Nice. And of course, it makes sense because, yeah, it's a nice combination. It is open, you know. This guitar is like, even with high gain, I can use humbuckers, not in split mode. There is a split mode. That's the split mode. No, that's the kill switch.
That's the kill switch, yeah.
This is the split mode.
Maybe we try the difference with the PAF?
Of course.
By the way, this guitar, and for those of you looking, it is scalloped from the 9th fret upwards. Yeah. Was this a totally custom build that Alex got commissioned, or was it some kind of signature model? What's the deal with it? Because I've never seen it anywhere else.
Well, Alex told me the story that this was given to him in Japan from ESP in the morning when he was on a tour, and this is his signature model. I don't know if this is available in a way. We have a swap. It's still his guitar, but it's like he plays one of mine. So if he needs it back anytime, you know, and it's the same with my guitar. But, you know, he has more of his guitars and I have more of my guitars. So why not have a swap? So and somewhere I have even Alex signatures strings in case I break one. Let's do the same thing with the PAFs. You can tell this is, you know, with the whammy bar and the openness in a way, it makes sense for that kind of music. This feels more a bit slower in a way that you know, like a bigger car with more mass. But this is kind of a fast car, and this is what it's meant to be. It's a super Strat, and it has all this kind of qualities you want from that guitar. That's something totally convincing as it is, as you know, that Les Paul. To me, they both have great character.
Yeah. As a slightly just off-topic question that came up earlier, what's your opinion on rosewood versus maple necks for this kind of stuff? I guess that's also more relevant for tellies, right? maple boards or rosewood boards?
Yeah, I mean, it goes here with the Brazilian rosewood, and is it the real one? And so, yes, there's a certain freshness that comes with that forbidden wood, or maybe now it's allowed, I don't know. When it comes to maple, there's always combinations that I liked in a way. I liked those 53 Teles with a maple neck, and as they are, that's kind of that's a tone that is very recognizable, and that makes a lot of sense, and I understand why many people like that, which doesn't mean there are great Teles with rosewood fingerboard. And on Strats, the same thing. If you talk about 50s Strats with 50s pickups, and there was no rosewood fingerboard in the 50s, they are beautiful instruments. Later, I'm totally a fan of my 61 and that kind of tone. And I do have 2 maple Strats. I used to have more, but I'm not the biggest fan of those. They do a brilliant job for certain tones, which is needed in the studio, or was needed in the studio for myself. But I never took one on stage, really. I tried a few times, and then I thought, you know what, I'm a rosewood Strat player, and it's my thing. Which doesn't mean other people like different things. And so my personal opinion is rosewood Strat, maple neck Tele, most of the time. Mm-hmm. Exception will kind of bestätigen diese Regel. What's the English? Would justify this rule.
Exactly. Yeah. There we go.
Okay, and this is not where it stopped. The evolution went on with the EMG pickups, which are active pickups. We have...
Just give you that one.
Yeah. This comes from Manny Zebe, by the way. Yeah. Manny Zebe is our dear metal friend from the area. And Manny, it's probably Manny or Manny's brother's guitar, I'm not sure. So this is a locked Ibanez bridge here. PCB boards from electronics stuck in between. Okay, of course, metal guys, no prisoners, they want... So we had the same amp as before, EMG 8185, using a battery compartment. Yes, you can see 9-volt battery inside, and that tone, it's Zakk Wylde. I think many metal players love that tone, and also Euge Virta is also somebody that likes that tone for heavy rock, heavy metal, and all this kind of... And the reason for that is when we look at the... I switched to the Iridium because more metal. Okay, so this is what it's meant to be. Tight, in your face, the metal bread.
So what does the battery, the active nature of the pickup actually offer in comparison to a passive version?
Yeah.
Because EMG do make passive versions of lots of their pickups.
As well, yes.
Yeah, what do the active versions give you?
It all came along to get a low impedance. Okay, a standard pickup works with, we have a high impedance of the amplifier, and then if you have a buffer in the pickup or in the guitar, the cable that we heard before will be less important. And this is where the whole thing started. The idea was get the signal buffered, get it better controlled. And then people discovered, oh, there's a tone change. And then they liked that tone for different things. I mean, me as a vintage freak, I'm not too keen to have a buffer in my guitar because I like the sound of a cable as well. So, and when they started these pickups, I'm not sure what they actually did they intend to make that kind of modern tone. Maybe they just want to have something technically superior from a technological point of view, but versus the old school. But the old school has so much character that I still like it till today in the pickups. When it comes to amps, I still like old school tones, but I'm open to new technology. What in the pickup is not my business. I haven't seen pickups in a new modern way that convinced me. I have been a good friend with EMG because I forgot his name, but one of the top bosses of EMG was a huge fan of mine. He had bought my record and he played it to all his fans, and he sent me the Gilmore set and everything, which was whatever DG20 or whatever it was called. I put it in and it was good, but it was a bit boring. Mm-hmm. So there's some magic about the vintage pickups that I prefer to whatever clean, hum-free and whatever advantages from a modern pickup design.
Yeah.
And I still haven't found any new pickup that gives me that magic.
Could we maybe hear these ones doing something clean on the neck pickup,
sure.
Something bluesy, just to hear what it's like?
Absolutely. Let's switch back to the Mercury edition in the clean channel where
we'll definitely need to do another episode where we do some more kind of niche pickups, because when you talk about new ones, one type which we haven't got here today is Fishman Fluence, which have really taken the world by storm in the last couple of years.
Yeah, especially with the metal guys.
Yeah.
I know the Fishman Fluence, they also offer Strat pickups, and you kind of have the option of having a 63 sound and stuff like that. I tried them. To me, same story. It didn't convince me. It's too polished. It's too nice, or it's not as three-dimensional and weird like the vintage pickup designs that I know and I own. I mean, I have so many vintage pickups, so I know what I'm talking about. It's a new way, and from a manufacturer point of view, it's a very precise way, because you can manufacture pickups with like almost no tolerance.
Yeah, maybe that's what you love. It's the imperfections about those vintage pickups.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, and just listen to clean tone here. Bridge pickup. Let me play my Les Paul or whatever just Les Paul for a change. So we hear the difference between vintage and EMGs. Yeah? So. Organic.
Yeah,
I would describe this as organic.
Yeah, it's a night and day difference. That's organic and natural, and this is, I don't know if it's cold, but it's certainly pristine.
Pristine,
you know, and it has a different character completely. But in fairness, I would say no one in the world is buying this guitar to play clean arpeggios on the neck pickup. But
of course, we're
making a good point here.
I'm not saying this is bad because it has everything you want. It has shimmering high ends, but it's not exciting. It's not 3D. It's not, like this extra flavor, it's like, I call this vintage word always like fruits. I can taste the orange and the lemon acids in different regions, with some strawberry in the middle and some blueberries just below the strawberries.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is like, it's kind of, it doesn't have, but on the other hand, this is so controlled that it makes total sense for the guys that want that controlled attack and not all these weird flavors all the time, all over the place, because this is not what their music is about. They want to have that hammer,
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah, and
different thing.
For bands who mostly spend their time playing heavy distortion with these pickups, what these are actually going to be good for is doing the kind of thick clean with a bit of chorus, like you hear Metallica using quite a lot, for example.
Absolutely. And this is what different music requires different instruments. And so for me, it there's nothing better. It's just different, and of course you have to find the right instrument for your music and your style. This is what matters. And if you put one of those PAF pickup guitars in the wrong hands, I'm not sure if Rammstein is happy with this kind of guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably has one, and then he plays some nice notes with it. I had the pleasure to talk with him, Paul, and but they have their riffs, and the PAF probably doesn't deliver exactly what they get from this.
Yeah,
and that's why different pickups for different purposes.
Yeah, that's a great summary of the whole thing again, isn't it? Just like when we talked about different parts of the guitar, different strings, different pickups, it's purely down to taste, what you want to play, who you want to sound like, and what you want to do with it. Yeah. I would never expect to see you on stage playing one of these, for example. Because it wouldn't do your thing, would it?
No. I mean, back in my studio days, I had different guitars. I had a Black Les Paul, and I played the power chords with it because it did the job, and it inspired me also to play differently, which I was challenged in the studio because somebody asked me to play whatever, play some Rammstein or the other. I played some Hausfrauen jazz on this one when they asked me, "Can you do fake jazz?" I'm not a jazz guy, but I mean, with a guitar like that, you can get somewhere in the zone, and when you work hard enough for a while, it sounds credible and nobody notices it. I could deliver what some people asked with an instrument that inspired me to play that way. Yeah, okay, I think we are running out of time.
Yeah, because we have the long interview to come as well. But I just do have a couple of questions that I've been collecting over the course of the episode. And I guess the main one is, we've talked about 5 or 6 different pickup types. We have more to come. But what do you think about hybrid guitars? And I'm talking about, let's say, modern brands like Reverend guitars, where you might see an instrument with a humbucker in the bridge and a P90 in the neck. Yeah. Or an Asheville Tele, guitars that mix things up. Will they ever be as authentic as, having two separate guitars.
I don't believe that they will be authentic, or never, because to be authentic like what we just heard here, you have to go all the way. And I'm not saying these are bad guitars, but these are, like Paul Reed Smith guitars. They are super versatile, flexible, high quality, but they are not as strong in the taste like a Tele or a Les Paul. They are somewhere in the zone, and it depends on you if you want that flexibility maybe, or if you want that range maybe, which is not so strong as a Tele. I mean, we talked about the Strat being not as strong as a Tele in certain aspects. So maybe you can do something with that. I couldn't find that in a Paul Reed Smith guitar, even though I'm very impressed about the quality. Every time I pick up a Paul Reed Smith guitar, it's like, man, this brand or this manufacturing is spot on. Probably the best in the industry. I'm not sure, but I was, every time I picked one up, perfect. I mean, too perfect for me even. So I had one for a while, or 20 years ago, and but in the end I came back with the idea of having a Tele, a lot of Strats, because I'm a Strat guy, my Les Paul Junior, a standard Les Paul, a Super Strat, and that was basically it. Before metal came along, I quit the studio gigs, so there's nothing wrong about metal, but I skipped that one, which is okay in the range, and I admire the metal guys for what they're doing, but I quit the industry, even the touring industry and the studio industry, just to do my thing. And then basically I reduced to my 61 Strat. And that's a beautiful thing for me in the end. The Desert Island guitar is already here. And my Desert Island amp is already here. So I can quit. see you on the island, Bring me some pina colada or a cold beer somewhere in the Caribbean. This would be nice. Not in the fucking cold winter here in Germany. We have freezing outside. Last night was -2.
-2,
yeah. Yeah. Still nice weather, a little bit of sun, but yeah, it's below 0. Not my style. Okay, guys. Last question, or shall we move on to the
That'll do. We'll not take any more questions, but we will need to do another pickup episode. I see the Sustainiac getting mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
Which is something we should definitely talk about at some point.
Yeah.
I see Tesla pickups getting mentioned.
Oh,
so
yeah.
the guys have many things that they want to see. So we'll pull together some of your notes, and we'll put together another episode and track down some more instruments with some different sounds and some different pickup styles, and do that in future. But for the super nerds who are still here with us, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and get ready for a very fun interview coming up right now.
Yeah, with Andreas Kloppmann. And Andreas is my pickup expert hero for the last almost 30 years. And I know how dedicated he is to the thing with guitars and especially pickups. And it's always a consistent learning curve to talk with him, and watch this interview. You will learn something for your life. And thanks, Andreas, for being there. Maybe he's in the chat, maybe he's sleeping already because I talked too long. See you guys next week, and check out the interview. And next week we will talk stereo. If it's needed at all. So this will be a controversial episode because I'm more mono than stereo, but I do have a heart for stereo too. I played stereo in my life, but blah blah blah. That's topic for next week. Now Andreas Kloppmann. Thanks, Rich, and see you in the near future.
Thank you.
Cheers. I'm impressed. Andreas Kloppmann.
Little music in the morning.
Yeah, sure. Andreas is my pickup hero, so to speak. The world brought us together on this beloved project of my 61 Strat, where he did a reverse wound pickup back in last century.
Years ago, yes, we were young.
We were young.
Needed some money.
Yeah, you needed the money and I needed a pickup. And I came with a 1966 Strat pickup and asked you to make a rewound version. And
you wanted to have a copy of this pickup.
Yeah.
And
he nailed it.
Yeah. I had a drawer full of not running Strat pickups from different brands, and I don't even know what that was. It was kind of 80s Fender or Duncan, even Burns pickups, and I just had some bobbins to wind, to try windings, and
and I was so impressed.
I was lucky to copy the one.
Yeah, well, but you were lucky to copy the one, and I was happy that you could actually get the tone of that 66 Strat pickup, which is a bit more mid-rangey, or and that it's still in that guitar, so it must be right.
Lucky punch.
Yeah. So while we have you here, I would like to know a little bit about the big picture today, like
the huge picture.
The huge picture. It started with
philosophy overall.
Yes,
what
please.
about the pickup?
Yes, please. Like
still coffee time.
Single coils, P90s, humbuckers. What has changed over the years, and are there any milestones from your point of view? Start at the beginning and finish at the end. So, when we go back whenever did they invent the? Do you know? Do you actually know when they came up with the first pickups? 40s, 50s?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know who did the first guitar pickup.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, and so I mean, I'm a Strat fanatic. And for me, over the years, from like 54 to up till today, there were many, many changes. So like they changed polarity, they changed magnet, they changed wire. So
only speaking of the Strat pickup, yes, there were some changes since.
So when we go for 54, which is the first year, what's kind of recipe in this year?
From 54, Fender came from making the Telecaster, or the Broadcaster, and if you compare old Telecaster pickups, in the first years till I guess to the beginning of 53, they had a special kind of magnetic alloy there. It's from this Alnico type, and Alnico is a mixture of different metals, and they somehow changed the type of the formula of the Alnico, or the company who did the magnets. So, and in the first year of 54 for the Strat pickups, these first pickups sounded similar
to the Teles
in the aspect of the softness of the tone.
Okay.
Like the first Teles.
Yeah.
So I guess he maybe had some leftover parts from Tele production, or I don't know, and make the first run of Strat pickups. So these actually sound very soft.
Yeah.
And this goes through 54 to the middle of 55, and then they get sharper again, like it's on the Tele in end of 53, going through till 55, when they started to make the staggered poles on the Tele.
Okay.
And the first Stratocaster years were quite mellow in tone, and they even had 100 kilo pots, I guess.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The first Strat of Strats.
Very dull sounding.
Very soft.
Yeah. Well, I'm more the fan of the later 50s when it comes to like maple neck guitars and Stratocasters. 56 is one of those years that I like 50s a lot. There's a certain sound about every year, and that's great.
Sure,
But this is where I like the little aggression that I could hear in the like second phase of the 50s with Stratocaster pickups.
Yeah. The 56 is very bright and very punchy.
Yeah, just checking out. By the way, this has also a pickup set from you in there.
Oh, really?
You forgot about everything. It's
sure.
It's too long. I think it's broken.
Yeah, it's the Fender type. The newer Fender type, they're always... for about 3 months.
Okay, yeah, so, see, I actually played that guitar, so it's broken.
Look at it.
Yeah. Okay, bridge pickup on the Tele. Do you recognize your own sets? Do you have several Tele sets, or...?
Sure.
Okay, do you know which one that is? I just know it's a Kloppmann set. And
sounds like the TL50. I guess it's the...
Yeah.
Because it's flush pole pieces, and I have 2 flush models. That's the 50 and the 49 broadcaster type, and the broadcaster type is even more mellow and mid-rangey.
No, you wouldn't put one of those pickups in my guitars.
Telecaster pickup was the TL60.
Okay.
And this was the approach of making pickups anyhow. Because when I got my 61 slapboard Esquire, the first thing that I did, I swapped the pickup because I thought the greatest thing you could do to a guitar is put in the Duncan pickup. So
Seymour Duncan.
Yeah, because
yeah, he was a hero.
I used to read the guitar player in the 80s.
Yeah.
Every day in and day out, and if you read the guitar player very carefully, you should know that Duncan pickups are the greatest shit you can buy.
Sure.
And so when I got my 61 Esquire, the first thing that I did, I bought a Duncan pickup for it, and I swapped the pickup, took out the original 61, put on the Duncan, and then I started playing and saying, wow, now I'm a real great guitarist because I got an old guitar and a Duncan pickup. And then I
flavor of the day. Maybe not.
It doesn't sound that good as it did before.
And this was this
what did the paper say?
Okay, and we still have this. We are still caught in the same trap today.
Yeah, and then I began thinking.
Trust your ears and not the paper.
What is it all about?
Yeah.
Then I built in my original pickup again and think, here's it again. That's the way it should sound. And yeah. But
with this experience from now, you probably know that you had a killer pickup from the original.
Sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
And when you look at the Fender history, their best pickups were the old ones, I guess, up to 70. Or what is your personal opinion on the history in Fender?
It's a general question to ask for the best.
Yeah, best. No. It's not your personal preference. The best is, for me, there is no better. It's your personal choice which you like better than others. It's the best is nothing. Because some guys want that mellow tone and other guys want that bitey tone. So for me, for instance, I'm a big fan of black bottom and gray bottom Strat pickups.
I know.
That's my personal preference. Okay, knowing there are other pickups that are killer, which I sometimes even enjoy for a very little thing, but it's like it doesn't suit my overall style that long. So these guitars are exciting, but somehow not used as much as others. So this is how I decide what.
I have a special approach in regarding pickups. A pickup should have a certain kind of power and a certain kind of frequency range. It should have high fidelity, high frequencies. It should have a voice.
Yep. This is here. Yeah. I want the O. And then we have the.
What I don't like about pickups is if they are too much scooped in the middle.
Yeah.
And many pickups you could buy from the aftermarket have this scoop.
Yeah.
And I don't know why people bring that to the market, because okay, it's not my taste.
Yeah.
And I always think, how could it be the taste of anyone bringing up a product like that? I don't understand.
I tell you why. Because at first glance, it might sound exciting because there is the high end. You know, the high end sticks out.
Sticks out. Yeah.
But if you are playing in a band or in a context with other instruments, you need the foundation in the middle.
Yeah, that's it.
The tone needs. With your pickups, this is why I like them so much. Is there's the tone and the extra high end. You know. It's not just warmth. It is balanced and it's dynamic. That's
because I've been on stages all my life and played old guitars.
Yeah, I've seen you play. I've seen you play and it was impressive. Yeah. So Telecaster, is there anything you want to say about the neck pickup on this one?
The TR50 features nickel silver cover. The old Telecaster neck pickups have brass covers, and these brass covers give a very wide linear sound, and most guitarists can't handle that because it's not so punchy as a Strat pickup would be, because it has this mellow mid-range. But I like this sound of typical Tele, because it's warm, it's jazzy. There have been many jazz players around using the Telecaster. So you are more in the
rock genre,
and more in the range of a Gibson guitar.
Yeah,
if you're using the neck pickup of a 50s Telecaster. They used the metal cover until the 80s.
Talking about Gibsons, I have a P90 loaded Junior here from '56. One of those brilliant, easy designed guitars with had only one pickup, and it's kind of the Tele from Gibson, you know?
Yeah.
So this thing is called
This is ugly.
Yeah, sure. It is, and it has ugly tuner as well. But they work. That's the thing about this guitar.
Yeah, okay.
It's been used in the studio, and it has this. And with this guitar, I only, by changing the volume and the tone, I get all the sounds you want from a guitar. Basically, it's amazing. It's like. Okay, vintage again. Transparency. Anyway, so this is Dog Ears P90. Dog Ears is just because of this cover. Underneath the pickup is the same.
As at the Sopa, yes, it's the same construction.
So Sopa, dog ear, same construction, just different. Well, here is no pickguard that holds the pickup or frame. So this is why they chose the simple way of mounting this direct. Does this affect the tone as well? Like
the mounting?
Yeah. not so much.
It takes up the vibrations of the guitar. But no.
Okay. Do you have kind of different style of P90 sets in your pickup?
In the moment, I have two types: the 60s and the 50s type.
Okay.
The 50s is more bright, more a quicker approach of tone, faster and evolving tone, and the 60s is more rock and roll, a little softer, more mid-range punch.
But this is a 50s, original.
Yes, yeah.
And it has a... I bought this guitar because Gary Moore used one of those.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, for the fast attack kind of things. But then I found out it works a lot nicer when it comes to sounds with less gain. You know, that's a beauty.
Less power with less gain, yes.
Yeah, I should say less gain on the headstock.
Less or more power. There are a few interesting things about P90s because many people think, aren't these single coils as well? Should they sound like a Strat pickup? No, because a Strat pickup is very rudimental. It's just a magnet with a coil.
It's as simple as it can be.
Yeah, the minimum that you need for a pickup is a magnet and a coil.
And that's the
it's
Strat.
Just what it is for a Strat pickup. Even a Telecaster pickup has more components, changing the sound with the bass plate or the neck pickup with the cover and all these things. But the most simple construction is a Strat pickup. The P90 is much more difficult. It has screws, it has a keeper bar, it has two magnets, it has a plate. The plate has a distance that causes capacities and moving resonances, and this is quite a different animal to the Strat pickup.
This is why I believe Strat. Why are all my heroes Strat players? Because I can hear their personality. I hear the player more than the guitar, because the Strat is probably such a simple thing, and the pickup maybe, because it's so simple, you have to work the guitar as a player, and therefore I can tell you if it's a David Gilmour, a Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Maybe yes. It carries more nuances of the player and of the guitar itself.
Even though we have a vibrato system, which kind of is not as direct as a straight connection of the strings to the body, but there's some magic about the pickups in the Strat and the tones I have heard from all these different personalities. And so for me, it's Jimi Hendrix, everybody picking up a Strat, they don't sound all the same. It's like I heard so many different sounds out of Strats versus
I think that's the versatility of a Strat is a thing that made it so popular. You can get out so many different sounds out of one guitar. So the island question would lead to a Strat.
Well, for me it's very clear.
Or the 4-people band with a small car go to a gig. You can only take one guitar. I had this problem several times.
Yeah, and I always had a Strat with me. That's a... Strat needs a little bit more gain.
Any gain at all.
I know, but for me, because then I have everything on my volume control, which comes back to the fact that making sounds is the frequency spectrum thing, and it's like how much bass do you want to saturate? and I kind of reduce the bass by turning down the volume.
I know.
That's my thing. And then when I crank it, I have this kind of fluffy, fuzzy sound. When I roll back, then I have the clarity. And that's, by the way, also in amplifiers. If you look at the very, very early amplifiers like my 57 Tweed Deluxe, there is no low cut. It's kind of, you can measure it flat in out, you know, there's no low cut. Then when you look at 60s amps, you know, like Voxes, they started to have some low cut in front of the power amp, because when people played it louder, they found out it goes fuzzes out. So, and then the Vox guys started to put in, you know, were the first to do that. And then there came, you know, stuff like the treble booster, which kind of did the same effect. It's kind of a low cut, 700 hertz or wherever you put it. And the more modern we get, the more gain we get, the more low cut we have.
Yeah,
and this is kind of
what Marshall did. They first copied the Fender type, and in the power amp station they had these 100 nano thing, and then they changed it to 22, which is
very
4 octaves higher or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's slimmed out.
Yeah, and
dramatically.
Exactly, and well, this is how the sounds changed from the very beginning to, you know, like second generation, and now with the metal generation, it's even more dramatic. You try to be as tight as possible, and you have to watch the bass, the low end even more. And
yeah, that's right. I just thought about metal sounds having a new pickup set, the Hammer and Anvil set. And this was quite interesting approach for me, because I wasn't aware how the metal guys do their sound, and I thought it might be that they still like these high power pickups that came up in the 80s to the 90s, and with thin wire and lots of windings and kilo ohms, but they don't.
Yeah.
They went back to more clarity and make their sound from different things like they used to do in the 80s or 90s. This was quite interesting.
Yeah.
So it's not the high power pickup anymore with high impedance.
Yeah, and the mid honk just by itself,
which
was
the very interesting journey.
Yeah, and so even for me, doing the journey with the Iridium, which is also my project to look into this world, taught me a lot about tone, which is a different word from my personal classic background tones, you know, with the good old Marshalls here and the Fenders and whatever. But going out of your comfort zone looking at this kind of thing gives you a point where you think, a
different point of view.
Yeah. And
even on the other products you had.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you learn from this new point of view a lot.
Making these modern pickups changed my view on the old ones, and I even improved my old products, the PAF styles, by having this different point of view. Very interesting.
Talking about the PAF style pickups, we have, of course, this Les Paul with your PAF style pickups.
Too much.
Yeah. So what I like about your PAF style pickups is they do have that openness, especially when you roll down the volume, because that's all what I'm doing, and roll down the tone as well. So this on 5 and this on 5 gives me different frequencies, and yeah. Nice. And all the in between. So I never got the idea of Les Pauls being muffly and high output.
Like from the 80s.
But, and these were the days when I got to know Les Pauls, so I wasn't impressed. Wasn't totally not my thing. And now finally with this kind of set. So what have you done with this one?
So the whole approach of this guitar is trying to be 57 guitar.
Yeah.
So this is in fact HB 57 from my production. This is some kind of 1 year old. Or when did I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much that what I'm doing now. I have the chance of an approach to improve a product. I go into these specifications and think it over all over again. And 2 years ago, I had the opportunity. I had an original 57 Les Paul at my company, and I had for a completely different customer a set of 57 pickups for just check-in and seeing if all is original, all the things are at the right place, because the guy wanted to have these checked, and I had the opportunity to have a close look at these pickups. So I had 4 57 pickups in the house, and a guitar, and I knew the other 57 that we both know. And so
the secret.
I reworked the 57 set about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And this is what it is.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
I didn't change it since then.
Yeah.
It has these. I have to talk about these alnico types. I have 3 different alnicos. I had one original 59 magnet checked by the Fraunhofer Institute in Germany, and I have an analysis of the mixture of metals there, and I made one original mixture and 2 others that go up and down with some kind of
amounts of materials,
of cobalt and nickel, a bit, to have different tastes in tonal approach, speedness, quickness of the tone, or mellowness of the tone.
And this goes for the screws, or what is?
No, it's just the magnet underneath.
Okay.
And this one has the fast tonal approach and the clarity of the 57.
Right.
So this is the strongest, quickest, brightest type that I'm using in here in the 57 set.
And the other day I had the chance to play a 59, and the first 59 that I was very, very, very impressed, because before I was the fan of 57 more than 59. So of course they are all different, and but I had 10 59s in my hands over the years or whatever, and about 6-7 57s. So, and usually the 57s were kind of my favorite ones versus the 59s, and so I didn't get the thing about the 59 bursts kind of thing, and gold top was always my thing. And that one particular 59 got me because it had that Tele type.
It had that clarity. It's
clarity.
The one that we both know.
Yeah. So I called you up because I heard that you were checking that guitar as well.
Yeah. I had to fix the pods on this guitar. Yeah. It was not much. Just in fact, it was just the pressure. How the pod was fixed into the guitar was the problem that it had. It's
mechanical stress on
mechanical stress on the pod itself, because the cavity had a different angle than the top. So the top went down and the cavity was like that, and the pod would go in and bend a bit.
And the contact was not perfect.
Yeah, and this changed the
tone.
The tone, yeah. It took me 3 days to find out where I took out the pot. I checked the pot. It was okay. Then I opened the pot. I cleaned the parts, put it together again. I had all these things on my desk. I had a pickup on the pot. I checked the pot, and it was fine. I built it into the Les Paul, and the sound went away again. And I said, "What is that?
Yeah.
What are you trying? What kind of game you're playing with me? You old lady, come on, come on."
So it was just mechanical stress.
Yeah.
So things are getting complicated or complex, depending. But it's, I mean,
I solved this problem with the special kind of washer that I made.
So even out the stress.
And then it was wonderful, and it sounded afterwards. It sounded like the way you
like it. I was blown away. I was blown, especially also by like everything. Everything was at the right spot, like what you described for the ideal tone.
Yeah.
Frequencies at the right thing, the openness, the dynamics, and for me it worked. It worked. I could play my amp without changing the settings. I could plug in my Strat, I could plug in that Les Paul, and I was home.
Yeah.
Instant.
But this was kind of special.
Yeah.
And the other 59s that I know had bigger, more mellow tones. Maybe these tend more to the end of 59. This one had very bright clarity, had a quick approach.
Unbelievable.
It came from the guitar and the pickups.
Yeah.
The pickups were low output. They had 7.5 or like something like that.
Less is more.
Yeah,
sometimes.
In this case, it was a perfect combination. And the pots measured 600 to even 700 kilo ohms.
Oh yeah, instead of 500, which is the spec.
So this gives a very prominent resonant frequency. Gives a very undamped tone. It's telly-like.
Talking about dampening and pickups and amplifier, the cable in between is part of the game.
It's part of the game. It's a crucial thing.
Yeah, because I mean you can buy whatever pickup. If you have a shitty cable, you lose some of that quality, or you move the frequencies.
You move, Again, it's not a question of good and bad. It's just a matter of taste. It's a matter of changing a system. Yeah, it's changing a system by using a different chord.
Yeah,
and it's all about frequencies. It's all about resonances. And the first wire going to the amp stage, the first amp stage, is a part of it.
Yeah.
So this all
interacts.
Gives the pickup, the pot, the cap, the tone pot, the wires in the guitar inside, and the wire that goes to the first amp stage of the amp give this complete resonating complex thing.
Yeah. What I learned from you is that the wire from the pickup is so important, even if it's that long. You know, or there's, of course, it's the capacity thing. The shorter, the less capacity, the brighter, so to speak. But I was shocked about that tiny little difference it made, you know.
Yeah, because this changes all. If you move in the resonant frequency, you change one specific note. This is all these things from this bouquet of frequencies you have on one note would move, and one resonance of a guitar would let every single note sound in a slightly different way, because the basic tone, basic frequency is different if you fret here or there.
Yeah.
So it builds up in a different way, and if you change a thing, all notes would change their sound.
Yeah,
it's like in the old days we play around with synthesizers.
Yeah,
I had a ARP Odyssey, and I learned very much about tone with this ARP Odyssey, because I could dial in things to make sounds.
Yeah.
So this gave an approach how a sound could be and what to change
to match a certain point that you have in mind.
That's it.
I know the same, growing up in the 80s musically, I also had a synthesizer and it was kind of finding the resonance and then maybe even the self-resonance and tuning different kind of things.
Yeah.
And then playing with that kind of micro-tuning.
Yeah, and this is pretty much the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Because everything changes the whole.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very impressive. And
we could talk 1 hour about Bumblebee
capacitors. Yeah.
And many people, I don't hear difference. There can't be any difference.
Sorry.
But there is.
There is a big.
If you change from a modern capacitor to a Bumblebee, an old paper and oil type, you're approaching a different world.
Yeah.
And then I have a big box with these Bumblebee. Collect these, and every time I'm intonating a guitar, I pick out. I select all these Bumblebees. I write down the numbers. I write down resonant frequency of the Bumblebees.
Yeah.
And of the capacitance.
Yeah.
And I check different Bumblebees for different sounds and see what sounds best for this particular guitar or what sounds best for the player.
Yeah.
The best thing is if they've had the player next to me,
then you
deciding what kind of sound do you like.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's if you look at just like the electronic specs like of a value, that's one effect. I don't know. Of course, it is a system where when you change like a resistance on the potentiometer, everything shifts.
And it's shifting with frequency, and that's the crucial question.
Because this is tone.
It's not always the same. You can say it has that kind of value.
Yeah.
If you take a different frequency, it's a different world. So that's what makes it interesting and musical, because all these parameters shift with different tones. So your tone is evolving and moving with different tones you're playing. And so you get not always so the guitar will be talking. If you have components that are working with the frequency, always the resonance of the whole thing compared to the basic tone gives this tasty, changing,
exciting, complex noise which is a mix. It's a mixture of frequencies.
That's what I always say in German. The Geräusch.
Okay, I think this was a very nice little interview with Andreas about the Geräusch. Let's call him Mr. Geräusch. And
das Geräusch,
and which in all its complexity. Thanks for giving a few insights here. We might continue another time because
sure.
And thanks for making these brilliant pickups. It's everybody knows me since I have this guitar, and you put all the love into this guitar and the pickups and whatever. I start to be a Les Paul guy as well. And so you changed a little bit in my life, which is a nice thing. And this is all down to the Geräusch, because the Geräusch from this guitar before was boring.
An honor for me being part of it.
And now it's not boring anymore, and that's the thing. So guys, there's still tons of nuances to be discovered in pickups.
Oh yes.
And if you don't know Andreas by now, check out Kloppmann Electrics, Kloppmann.com, right?
Kloppmann-electrics.com.
Minus.
Okay. Or you could just type Kloppmann with double N and U.
Yeah.
EU or net.
Okay, it's all him.
Just use some kind of search engine like.
Okie doke. Hey, so thanks Andreas, and see you soon.
See you soon.